Welcome to Trail Buddy. I'm Mark. Today we're going to go over the oil dampener front fork cartridges for the Z50. So there's some important things to look for when you get the part and when you're getting ready to install a part. We got to check out the front forks. We got to make sure they're not bent. Importantly, when you go to put the cartridges in, you're going to want to make sure that these are clean and free from old grease. And the worst thing you could do is get this sandblasted and not clean that grease out, repaint it, and then try to put your fork cartridges in, because what it'll do is it still has the bushings inside here that need to move in and out. It'll just bind and you can hear sand. That's one thing to check. But today we're going to go over the cartridges and the details and what to look for. So we've got a pair installed in this Z50 right here. But when you get them, there's one thing. It's not so much into the Z50, but it's still important. It happens a lot more in the Trail 70. But you're going to want to make sure that these fork tubes are not bent, because what happens with these oil dampened cartridges is if these are bent at all, it can cause some binding. So what I got here is just a straight edge. Anything straight will work. What you need to do is you need to kind of go from the side and get a good visual kind of sight line to see, like, okay, these are straight, this is parallel. You're going to want to go, let's just say like XY dimensions. So I'm going to go here, then I'm also going to go to the back. I'm going to look, more often than not, like a kid hit something and these things are bent in. These ones are obviously looking good. We checked it out before we installed it, but when you have your front end, that's the one main thing you're going to look for, is that these fork tubes here are straight and parallel. So as you can see, this one here is chock full of old grease, dirt, and grime. So what we got to do is we got to be able to clean that out so that when we repack the bushings, that these will slide nice and easy and won't bind up. So to do that, I'll show a little trick that we got, that we use kind of like a metal coat hanger and some shop rags and some part spray cleaner. So there's a couple easy ways, or necessarily not easy, but a decent way we can clean out those fork tubes in the inside. Now, it's a little tougher when you're working with a nice painted bike, because you really want to be careful not to get all the old grease and oil over that. But for the set that we have off the bike, we don't have to be as careful. But what I like to do is it's kind of like a lapping tool that I used when I was an apprentice, in terms of getting inside that ID bore and cleaning it out. So I've got a shop rag here, just some of them rags in the box. They're the heavier duty, just paper towel type. Well, not really paper towel, but definitely like a Scott's rag in the box, where they're pretty strong. So what I did is I ripped it in half, and I'm just going to fold it a couple times. And then what I've got here, I've got a piece of metal that I bent, and I've got a little hook. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that hook right over the center, and I'm going to bend it down tight and wrap it over it so it holds in there. So I kind of got like a wiggly bird here. So what we're going to do with that is we're going to wrap it around it, and now I've got something that I can spray the part spray cleaner on, and I can really get it in this drill and kind of go in and out of there to clean that out. Now you can also take, like a full rag, spray that thing down with part spray cleaner, shove that up in there, and then pull that back out several times. And you want to keep doing it until the rag is clean and not showing any dirt or debris. So we'll get some close-up shots of that, and then we'll clean that bore out. All right, so I got one of these ripped in half, and just going to fold it a couple times. And then here's the tool I made. Just a, metal wire hanger, kind of cut it, made myself a little hook. Again, I used to use this like with sandpaper for doing IDs of holes, but so we're going to go over the top. All right, and then I'm just going to make sure I bent this thing in so it's got it. All right, and then we're just going to twist it around a couple times. And then this will be our little bore cleaner. So I probably should have cut this just a little bit longer if you really wanted to get inside and clean that stuff out, because I would imagine that would work its way down over time. But the bushings and the you know, they only really run about up to, you know, this high. So we want to make sure we definitely get there. But we'll get this in the drill. All right. So, gotta spray this guy up. Just chock full. Now you're probably, last time I did this, I had to go through a couple of these. So we're gonna get in that bore, and be careful with your eyes. I should probably have some safety glasses on. Yeah, look at all that grease come out. Now I'm switching directions a little bit. Because what it does is it makes that paper towel flip and go the opposite way. Oh boy, look at that. So this is that, all the grease, old grease, sand. There's even some metal filings in there. This is what was in there. So that all came out of there the first cleaning. Now you'll get some that are even worse, but we can check it here. You know, just by getting in there, you can even feel how much cleaner it is. And that's just a process you're going to want to kind of repeat until you get it real clean. I've also done it where I grab a full-length towel, I'm spraying inside there, pushing the towel up in with like a wrench or a rod or something, then pulling it out and then turning it around. This seems to work a lot nicer and quicker. If I really look in there, that bore is really pretty clean. Now, ideally, the next time I make this tool, I'm definitely going to cut it a bit longer so I can really get up in there and clean this one out. This one I made for a bike that it was all put together with a pretty decent paint job, and I was really worried about getting grease or oil all over that. But this is how you really want to clean the bore. I mean, the main thing is however it works for you, you just want to make sure that there is no sand or old grease inside this bore. So after we're done with the cleaning, we're going to want to get our waterproof grease, and we're going to want to lube this up, and then I'll show you that and how to lube the actual fork cartridge. So I've got the cartridges out of the bag. What you're going to find on the outside taped is this is your brake cable stay or latch or mounting point. So when you install this, you want to make sure that this here is pointing to the rear of the motorcycle. And also, when you take it apart and you clamp it, you want to clamp it over this guy here. See where the hole is? You want to make sure this hole is inside there. So clamped on just like so. And we'll show you on an installed one over there. Now we're getting ready to grease these guys up and grease the inside of the fork tube. So I'm just making sure I don't have any, well, I probably should not be doing that over top of my grease. So we're going to make sure that I don't have any junk on my fingers and my hands. Relatively clean. We're going to pull back the slide here. Alright, and then we've got our bushing here that rides inside here that is stationary, and this will ride up and down on the fork. So we've got to make sure that we've got this well lubricated, this shaft, where it rides up and down. Alright, so this will be in there, and the fork tube will be doing like that. Alright, so now, as you can see, this part here, when it gets bolted in, this will be riding up inside here. And that's why it was so important to get this cleaned as far up as you can get it. So what I like to do is I'll grab a whole bunch of this brand new grease. We'll make sure we are good and clean. And then just get that good, just one nice pass. As far as you can reach in there. And just get it lubed up good. So once you've got that, now this could also be done in the bike. We don't have to do it off. We just got it like this so it's easier to see. So I've got my boot pulled back. I've got this pulled up, you know, maybe about 2 to 3 inches. And then what we want to do is we want to do a generous amount of grease from about, for sure here, between these two landings. and then here too. So what we'll do is we'll pack this guy. We get this good and packed up. And I'm making sure that I get grease on top of these bushings, but in between here too. So that will help lubricate the inside shaft. Well, everything's moving. So we've got our kind of our top mid bushing, making sure we got a fair amount of grease. And then we've got our mid bushing. And I'm trying to like not push my finger. I'm trying to make sure I get a bunch of grease in that landing. Make sure we get this. And then this one is where we can get a little bit thinner. I just want to make sure I've got good lubrication on that shaft area here. Alright, so then we'll slide that up. Alright, run it back and forth a couple times. Lube it one more time. There we go. Alright. And then what we would do is we're going to install through this way. But what we want to take care to note is that there's a orientation tab here on the top. So that orientation tab needs to line up here with that orientation tab on the top of the fork tube. Now you'll know that by this top area roughly being flush with that. So we'll go ahead and install. And then what we'll do is we will rotate that until there. So that is installed correctly when you're looking through the top. Now, the bushings, we want to make sure that those get pressed in, and you just want to make sure before you put that top plate in that that doesn't fall down on you and turn. So again, there's each section, the left or the right, we've got to make sure that that orientation tab gets lined up. So I'm finishing up here. This doesn't need that much grease. My hands are filthy now. But what I am using is some waterproof grease from Bel-Ray. So I got all the shaft lubed up, and then the final piece here, which really makes these neat, and what I think the most advantage of these fork tubes have over anything else over the original is they're not going to have the front to back play like you'll have on the originals. Now these will also, they actually have dampening, so when you put these in, these are going to feel stiff, really stiff in comparison to just pogo, you know, like a pogo stick, just nothing there, springs moving. And I'll go show us on a Trail 70, but what you don't get is you get zero play back and forth. So what you'll run into is you'll hit that front brake on your bike, and if you can actually rock your bike back and forth almost an inch. So get this bushing, these bushings in here, and that spring. They really make a difference in terms of bike feel performance as you're going down the road. So, as I'm putting this on, another note is you want to make sure that you don't cross thread this guy. So it feels like I've got a little bit of a hang up in here. So I'm going to take this grease off, check my threads, and make sure that I'm not cross threading this. That's one important thing is if you feel resistance on anything, I would say like any kind of thread, you just want to make sure. Yeah, there it goes. So a little bit of that is the grease sifting, but in a roundabout way, this is exactly how you want to install it. I think I have this on the wrong side, but we was just getting ready to show you how the stack up goes and how to grease it. So again, when you go to put this on the bike, when you sit on it, what you'll feel some compression. So it'll take the load of you and the bike, and it'll sag. And then what you'll find is you'll have your working range, which it's not a ton of travel, but I think the most important part is the rigidity of this front end assembly in terms of you're not having wiggly brakes. You don't have that weird chatter feeling like when you're going down the road. It's a lot more solid. And you can check your compression, make sure that you're moving in and out good. You want to make sure you're not hearing any like sandy, gritty, grinding noises. And then you know that you have it installed. So from here we'll move on to that Trail 70, and I'll show you what our OEM Honda version looks like. So what we have here is our Trail 70. I wanted to give you a good side shot of what an original one. Now, even if we were to put the new bushings in here, the cartridges, it'll do the same thing. Sometimes I've put new Honda ones in, and they were worse. So we've got our original one here, and what those forks take out for the Trail 70 and the Z50 is they take out this wiggle play. So if I grab that front brake cable and I just rock the bike back and forth, you could see that whole fork assembly, I don't know, moving half inch or so back and forth, maybe a little bit more. You still get, and this is just, you're just bouncing all over the place. Now, when you get with the other ones, you'll feel it go down, and then it'll feel pretty stiff, and then you get your working range. But as you're riding the bike, it's also going to go up and then down. But I wanted to get a good close-up to show you what you're going to get rid of with those cartridge assemblies. So on this bike, we've got the final assembly. You can see here we've got our brake cable mount. It's over top of our brake stop boss that keeps the hub from rotating. And on this particular bike, one thing that you got to keep mindful of is when you're going to put your whole assembly together and you go to put your front tire in there, what we like to do is now this doesn't happen to all bikes, and this is really kind of hard to judge. It's depending on how hard the original kid was on this bike when he was beating it up when it was, obviously older than I am. But what you want to look for is we don't want binding. So when we put this one together, we ran our axle through, right? We started our nut a little bit, and we looked at it like, hey, wait a minute. We've got, almost an 1/8 inch gap there before we tighten down. Now, we've done other bikes where we haven't had that issue, but this one, we had just a little bit of where this might be made just a little bit different. These might be just slightly bent. I know in the front we were talking about making sure that these are parallel, but you don't want them to bind as they're moving. So what we did is we just put a 10 millimeter washer in here that made up that gap. We found a thinner one on the shelf. Now again, this is something that can come up. You might not have to use this. This is just something that we did with this particular bike to make sure that we didn't get any binding. So we're finishing up here with the assembly on this particular Z50. So we've got everything lubed up. We've taken the bike off the lift. We've made sure that we've got movement up and down. Now again, you're going to get a little compression. It's going to stay there, and then you're going to have your working distance in terms of travel. As you're heading down the road, you'll find that you'll go above that preload, and you'll use more than just the down play. So if you get on the bike, you sit on it, you're pushing down, it's kind of stiff. It really doesn't have a lot of play. But as you're going down the road, the springs will start working, and this will also, everything's new, so you got to allow a little bit of time for everything to kind of work in. If you do have any problems, take these out, double check your grease, make sure that you don't have any binding on your axle. If you've got to put that washer in, most of the times you don't. But these are a great option in terms of just trying to rebuild the original, because you do actually have dampening. And I think the key thing is when you hit that front brake, those two fork legs just don't go dancing in front of you. So if you like this part, you can check out and find more parts on mytrailbuddy.com.